Finally, everything returns to normal in the kingdom of Magentano. People are shouting, asking if everyone is safe. Two magicians are talking about how they survived the cold. One of them remarks that he felt his whole body freeze up and thought he was dead, but the coldness suddenly disappeared, as if someone or something had taken it away. In the next scene, Llyod is completely frozen. Javier is shocked to see Llyod in this state. He and Queen Alicia approach Llyod. They see Llyod completely frozen, which leaves Queen Alicia in disbelief. Queen Alicia moves her hand close to Llyod's and, when she touches his hand, she feels his heart beating. She immediately calls for Javier and tells him that Llyod's heart is beating. She asks if Javier can melt the ice on Llyod's body with his mana. Inside Llyod's body, Llyod is in some place completely tied up with strings. He wakes up and feels cold, wondering why he looks like this and what state he is in. Suddenly, a voice comes from behind, telling him that his heart has become a manifestation in the only thing that's moving in his body. A blue-colored creature appears and tells Llyod to thank him and be grateful because it is he who has saved Llyod. Llyod looks at him, gets scared, and calls him a "but monster," commenting on its shape. The blue creature shouts, "I am the Winter Heart," and turns around to show his body in the shape of a heart, but Llyod insists he still looks like a butt. Llyod asks the Winter Heart why he is in his body, and the Winter Heart replies that it is because Llyod absorbed him. More accurately, the Winter Heart allowed Llyod to absorb it. The Winter Heart explains that it is ridiculous to think anyone can absorb it because it is made by gathering energy for 100 days by the great dragon Tyran. He tells Llyod that even if his body tries to absorb the mana of the Winter Heart, it wouldn't take even 1 out of 1,000 units of its mana. However, the Winter Heart feels a special power from Llyod, sensing that his heart resembles that of a dragon. This makes Llyod realize that his skill, half man, half dragon, is the reason. The Winter Heart also notes that Llyod was ready to sacrifice himself for the good of others without hesitation, which was surprising. Then, the Winter Heart merges with Llyod, and a message box pops up, announcing that Llyod has become one with the dragon's sacred artifact, the Winter Heart. Due to this influence, he has unlocked a new skill, Time Freeze. This ability will give Llyod the power to freeze the flow of time. The user can also decide if he wants to keep an area unfrozen while time flows normally there. The size of the unfrozen area will depend upon the user's mana, and Llyod can stop time for up to 1 year. This makes Llyod laugh, thinking about the potential benefits for construction projects. However, the message box reveals a problem. The RP, resource points, needed to use the skill is 3,000, and Llyod only has 2,665 RP. Llyod realizes that he has been lazy in gathering RP and needs to put in more effort. But before that, there is a bigger problem he needs to address immediately. In the next scene, Llyod is bowing down in front of Queen Alicia and Javier, who wonder what he is doing. Before Javier can say anything, Llyod signals him to stay quiet and then explains that he has just fused with the kingdom's sacred artifact, which is equivalent to stealing a country's nuclear missile and could get him prosecuted. He asks Javier to run away, but Javier tells him that would solve nothing because they would have to fight against the kingdom and handle the consequences. But Queen Alicia interrupts suddenly and tells him it's too late to run away. She kneels down and explains that it was the fault of the blood magic guy. But Queen Alicia tells them she already knows what happened. Since Llyod had borrowed the Winter Heart, it was his responsibility to take care of it. Llyod then wonders what happened to the blood magic guy. Queen Alicia tells him that Worth Road managed to survive the cold but was executed by fire. She watched him turn to ashes herself. Then suddenly, the Queen kneels down and tells Llyod that what's more important right now is that he is safe. This makes Llyod's heart pound, and he begins to blush. But Queen Alicia continues, saying it's a pity they couldn't find out more about the blood magic Worth Road was using. Even though she tortured him, he didn't confess anything. However, Llyod did get some information from him. Worth Road used a sword infused with purple mana, and it temporarily cursed him with something known as darkness encroachment. When you get cursed by that magic, you suddenly gets teleported to a place that seems like blood, and there is another copy of you that keeps talking. Queen Alicia tells Llyod to hold on and explain everything in detail. Then she removes her glove and shows him the red hand that she has, which means she is cursed with same blood magic. In the kingdom of Magentano, it is nighttime, and Queen Alicia is walking through a corridor of the palace. Suddenly, she hears some sounds coming from a room. She goes to investigate and finds her younger self with a few dead bodies. She reveals that the people she has killed are her own brothers. Young Queen Alicia explains that she had no choice because her brothers tried to kill her. Young Alicia continues, saying that her brothers were the ones who killed her parents as well. She adds that although her brothers always seemed kind to her, it was a lie. She warns her older self not to trust anyone and to kill them before they kill her. Alicia continues, saying that the biggest threat is Llyod Frontera. She asks older Queen Alicia not to let anyone break her heart again because they will betray her. Young Queen Alicia tells her older self that just because people call her a queen doesn't mean they respect her, they could kill her at any time. She advises taking everyone as prisoners and suppressing them, not giving anyone a chance to oppose her. Older Queen Alicia comes and hugs her younger self, sensing her sadness and fear. She tells her that it's okay to feel that way sometimes. Young Queen Alicia begins to cry and suddenly disappears, leaving older Queen Alicia in tears as well. In the next scene, Queen Alicia wakes up from the dream, sits up in her bed, and wonders how she overcame that dream. We suddenly go in a flashback. Llyod tells her that it was just confirmation. Queen Alicia wonders what he means by confirmation. Llyod explains that being human means having ill thoughts and feeling weak sometimes, but when people try to ignore these feelings, their hearts become ill. Queen Alicia asks if he is an expert in this. Llyod replies that he has done some research and that the illness of the heart is beyond imagination. Back to present, Queen Alicia thinks to herself that she owes Llyod another debt and doesn't know how to repay him. In the next scene, we see the courtroom of Queen Alicia where the trial of Llyod Frontera is about to begin. The council is led by a duke who hates Llyod the most. All the council members are plotting to end Llyod's life in this trial because he lost the most sacred artifact of the kingdom. The trial begins, and Queen Alicia announces that due to the significant loss for the great kingdom, they will begin the trial of Llyod Frontera. Queen Alicia apologizes to Llyod because even she cannot ignore the laws of the country, but she will at least help him avoid capital punishment. Siluria argues that this is unfair because the Winter Heart was mishandled due to the blood magic guy. Javier counters, saying that since Llyod was responsible for the Winter Heart, he is the culprit. Siluria finds it ridiculous, but Javier reassures her that she doesn't need to worry because Llyod will be fine. The chief of the noble council, who hates Llyod the most, starts announcing their harsh decision. Suddenly, Llyod takes something out of his pocket, a container with Worthrod's blood. The Duke becomes frightened as he is the one who let Worthrod in. Llyod knows this and begins to laugh with an evil face. The Duke panics, knowing he was the one who gave the blood container to the soldier to spill. He was the reason Worthrod was summoned to the kingdom. The Duke wonders how Llyod managed to get the bottle amidst such chaos. In flashback, Llyod knows that Worthrod cannot walk in the kingdom without his blood to teleport. He realizes it's the work of one of the noble council members who hates Llyod. So he tells his pets to go and look for evidence. Back to the current scene, Llyod shows the bottle to the Duke, whose face becomes like a deer caught in headlights. The Duke, while announcing his decision, sees the bottle more and more, becoming more nervous. Suddenly, the Duke changes his tone and declares that Llyod has made the most significant contributions to the kingdom and is a meritorious subject. He continues, saying that Llyod's actions are nothing compared to the improvements he has brought to the city. Queen Alicia and all the other members are surprised by the sudden act of kindness. As the noble council announces their favorable decision, Llyod dances in front of the Duke, teasing him more. Then Llyod pointing at him and warns him that next time, if he tries to get in his way, he will know what Llyod will do to him. The Duke, now more humble, says that Llyod should not be the defendant but should be named the hero among heroes.